guys, I'm Nina.
I'm Jamie.
I'm Ethan.
And we are Bloody Essentials. We just want to thank all of our listeners for supporting the show. It means so much to us. Guys, thank you for following us from the very beginning and continuing to listen.
We appreciate it.
And also shout out to our Patreon members, Rick, Swift, and David. Guys, thank you so much for contributing to the show, but just hanging out with us and, telling us what you love, what you don't like about horror. And we're just grateful to call you guys friends.
Yeah, you guys are awesome.
Yep.
Yeah. And upcoming appearances, we'll be at Flashback Weekend Chicago, August 1st through the 3rd. You don't want to miss that. There will be alcohol, but don't just come for that. Come for, pictures and cosplay and horror talk. It's going to be a good time.
And
come for the memories.
And alcohol.
And if you have if you have some of that along the way, I mean.
Exactly.
The memories that will stay.
If you don't remember the memories because of the alcohol, just take pictures.
Exactly.
I was going to say, have witnesses.
Leave them on your phone because what happens at Flashback stays at Flashback.
Exactly.
That's right. Tonight we are very excited because we have one of our dear, dear friends of the podcast. We have Ryan, the Library Inman. Hello.
What's happening, Ryan?
Hey.
I feel like the guy that goes to the concert and wears the shirt of the band
You are
is gonna go see.
You are. Yeah.
And
I don't
we
think
like
you own
that
another shirt.
We like that shirt. We like those koozies. And
We do.
and
I have a nice non-alcoholic Chicago beer in here too. So.
There you go.
Yeah.
Shameless plug. If you
Ooh.
would like one of these shirts or one of these koozies, you can contact us. They are for sale.
Ba, ba, ba. Yeah.
Yeah. And look how cool they are.
They are cool. And speaking of Chicago, we have a very fun Chicago themed film tonight that Ryan actually picked out, and I'm so excited we're talking about it. It is Stir of Echoes from 1999. So, Ryan, why did you pick this movie?
Several reasons. Number one, the Chicago theme, and I figured that this would be better to cover with you folks than with Rick. This particular film.
Okay.
Two, we can really figure out that 5 weeks can really make a world of difference. And I'll elaborate on that more in a little bit. But you might already know where I'm going with that. I'm sure you do.
Yep.
And three, because it also poses a very, very important question. And that question is, does it hurt to be dead?
Oh, it does. For sure. It hurts to be alive sometimes too, but that's...
I was gonna say, I think the hurting comes when you're alive, not when you're dead, but...
Yeah, that's what Greg said when we were watching this movie earlier today. It's like, I don't know, it hurts more to be alive sometimes, but yes, it does hurt to be dead. Now, Ethan, I know you saw this in theaters, right? But
I actually did, you bitch. So
when was the first time everybody saw the movie?
Okay, well, I seen it when it came out in theaters, so
There you go. I did not see it when it came out in theaters, but I saw it quite a while ago. And I actually just recently rewatched this, maybe like 4 or 5 months ago, I randomly put it on. So I rewatched this not too long ago.
Yeah, I probably watched it about 6 months ago. Like, not for the first time, but I just rewatched it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I initially saw this through my cable company at the time. They're like on-demand thing before it hit like HBO.
Yeah.
Like back then, things are a little different now. Like it goes straight from the theater to streaming.
Yeah.
But back then we had like on demand,
You had to wait.
like pay-per-view, you know?
Yep, pay-per-view.
Yep.
That's how I saw it for the first time.
Okay.
So it was probably, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 months after it hit theaters.
I think I saw it on TNT or TBS or something, you know.
Edited?
After it left HBO.
Probably. The first time I saw it was probably edited because I definitely saw it on TV.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. My family was like obsessed with Kevin Bacon, so it definitely happened. Yeah.
See,
But yeah.
just like a lot of people, I wasn't even aware of this film coming out.
Yeah.
Because of something that happened 5 weeks earlier, which really ruined this film. Ruined its chance at making money, should I say. Because this film came out 5 weeks to the day after a film called The Sixth Sense.
Yep.
I had a feeling. Yeah.
And
this movie is far better, by the way.
Wow, we're already going down that hill.
No, I don't care. I hate The Sixth Sense, and I love the director, but I hate that movie.
See, I'm the opposite. I hate that director, and I like that movie. I don't love that movie, but I like that.
I don't love the director, but I like him.
Yeah,
I don't like the movie. Ethan?
I like Sixth Sense. I like it. I don't love it.
Okay.
So
it's okay, but I will never watch it again because it's like once you know, and it's like it's not
Yeah.
as fun. This movie, it's still entertaining.
right.
Yeah. The ending was spoiled for me before I saw Sixth Sense. So
Same.
my experience watching Sixth Sense wasn't great because, it got spoiled and it's kind of like, oh,
It's
okay.
boring. It's boring. At least this one, you've got Kevin Bacon making like some jokes here and there. Like, I got to dig. Didn't you hear me? I got to dig. And I'm like, gratuitous shirtless scene.
I was going to say.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't mind that.
I was not upset.
I find when you go back now, and we might as well just talk about, because it's impossible to talk about this movie and not bring up The Sixth Sense. It's impossible.
Right.
It's impossible. Yeah.
Right.
It came up when we were watching it today. Yeah.
The whole what a twist thing is, and that's like a meme now, and it should be, because M. Night Shyamalan is
that's
terrible.
all he does. Yeah. And he can't get away from it. That's the ultimate tragedy of his career.
Right. And this was the first film, he did. So a lot of people weren't expecting that. My favorite TV show of all time is The Twilight Zone.
I love the Twilight Zone. Yeah. Oh, I can watch it over and over and over again.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We're going to talk more about that in a little bit because that ties in really big to Stir of Echoes. Very, very big. And that's the reason I even watched Stir of Echoes in the first place, is because of the Twilight Zone, but we'll get there.
Okay.
People don't believe me. I don't care. I watched The Sixth Sense and I figured it out before the end.
Yeah. How could you not
see that?
It's so obvious.
It is, but it's not, because you're like, if he's been dead this whole time, why is he so shocked when he finds out he's dead at the end? When's the last time he's had to eat a meal or actually had physical contact with somebody, even his wife or what? It just, if you go back and look now with a cynical eye, there's a million holes in it.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. But also, like, the brain is a very strong thing, and if you're not willing to accept something, your brain won't let you. So,
fair enough.
Yeah. But I'm just playing devil's advocate, but I do think it's a shit movie. You can't go back and rewatch it like Stir of Echoes. I don't care.
I haven't rewatched it in a while. I need to, I'd have to rewatch it because it's been a while since I've seen it, but
it would only be fun to rewatch it if you were with somebody who's like,
yes,
Josh hasn't seen it. My kid, he's
never
16.
seen it. Yeah,
he's never seen it. So if we watch that, I would be watching him more.
Yeah,
I would be watching the movie just.
Or it would be fun to riff on it with friends.
Right,
like that would be fun. But it's like to watch on your own. No, you could skip it.
I thought
there are far better movies of his.
I thought I was going to have to do some convincing, like towards the end of this thing, after we cover it deep. No. But you're flat out right away. This is a better movie than Stir of Echoes is a better movie than The Sixth Sense, and you're absolutely right. Yeah. It is. But the thing is, when The Sixth Sense first came, it was a mainstream thing. Mainstream moviegoers were not ready for something like that, and it took everything by storm. And like, it was still.
And
like,
this came out 5 weeks later, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't stand a chance. Yeah.
And it's a very similar kind of present,
Very.
Yeah.
The effects aren't done as well either. So that kind of.
There's one thing I will say. There's one thing about The Sixth Sense that is clearly better than Stir of Echoes. There's only one thing. The child actor is much better. Haley Joel Osment.
Yeah. I disagree.
No.
I disagree.
Really?
I think he's a great actor.
I think he's a great actor, but I don't think he's better than this kid. I thought this kid was fun.
He had a lot less to do.
He had a lot less to do, and I don't think that this.
Yeah, he did.
I don't think it's really fair to compare the two because this kid had a completely different like level. He wasn't like, he was scared a little bit, but like he wasn't really scared of the ghost. Like he was just like, you don't have to be afraid,
That's
Dad.
true.
Like it's
Yeah.
not. He was more there for like comedic relief, I feel like.
He was also younger, though.
Very
too.
much,
So
yeah.
you would
Yeah.
perceive things
Yeah.
differently when you're
Exactly.
6 versus like what 11.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was much younger, very
There's-
innocent. Yeah.
Yeah, there's less to be afraid of at 5
Exactly.
or 6 than there are when you're a
Big
tween.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And
you see all the evil in the world, you know.
yeah. And
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't know the full details of what happened to this ghost. Like, so that helps a lot too. Because how horrifying, right?
Yeah.
Right?
It just
That's
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 the elephant in
the-
the room, though. Is and that's really why this movie didn't succeed as much as it did, and it did make money. Stir of Echoes still did make money. It had
good.
a $12 million budget, and it made $21 million at the box office. So
Okay.
it still made money, but it
Okay.
was done
Yeah.
very, very low budget. I don't
Yeah.
have the numbers for Sixth Sense in front of me. I don't know what it cost. I think it had a much bigger budget. I think it was around the $30-40 million mark, but that thing made like $20 gajillion.
Okay.
You know?
I'm sure most of the budget went towards getting Bruce
yeah.
Willis.
Of course,
Yeah.
because he
Yeah.
was the guy.
He's
at that
huge.
Oh.
Yeah. He'd already
Oh,
done
definitely.
3 Die Hard movies. Like, come on. Yeah. All right. Let's get into plot points. All right. So
Okay.
we start out, and it is bath time with Jake, and we see Kevin Bacon's character Tom in the background playing his guitar, which I love. And
Yes.
we aren't really sure what's happening, but like Jake is talking. It looks like he's talking to his dad initially, right? But we find out he's looking through like at a mirror or whatever, right? And he's talking to something else in the room, not his dad.
Right.
Because you could easily be like, oh, he's just talking to his dad. But then like the last question that he says is, does it hurt to be dead?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, he's not talking to his dad.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
no.
Can I just say too, he has the perfect like he has the perfect like kid stare, like kid looking into
Yeah.
something beyond, you know what I mean? I will say like perfect like haunted kind of stare.
Yeah. Definitely.
I like that the kid went out of his way to get his dad out of the room to continue the conversation and ask the question. He wanted the bug pajamas, not the fire trucks.
Yep.
He, you know,
Very smart kid.
yeah, he didn't want to say that in front of his dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't notice that. That's a good point.
Yeah.
I'm also convinced that this kid only has Bugs
Smart
pajamas
kid.
because that's all I saw him in.
Oh, he had the fire trucks later.
Did he?
Yeah.
Okay. Every time I noticed he was wearing pajamas, I was like, he only has the Bugs pajamas. What the hell?
No,
Yeah,
they
where's
showed
the
it
fire
later.
trucks?
Yeah.
I want to see the fire trucks. I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch it now.
Well, it doesn't matter if you have a kid and they have a favorite outfit. They could have 1,000
That's
other ones,
true.
and
It's
they're
the
like, "No,
Bugs.
I want to wear this. I want to wear
Yeah.
this. I want to wear
That
this."
is so true. Yeah.
Josh went
Bugs
through a phase
PJs
like
is
that.
pretty awesome.
The Bugs were pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like
Josh
I thought
went
he
through a
meant
thing
Bugs
like that with
Bunny.
his pajamas. He was like, only wanted to wear one certain pair of pajamas. So Stacy's like,
Oh.
I'm doing these like every day. So I went to the store and bought him 4 different sets of the same pajamas.
Oh, sets
And I
of
was like,
it. There
like,
you
there you
go. That's
go.
smart.
That's smart. Yeah.
She's like, well, I do wash every day. And I'm like, yes, but here, they're going to get wore out. So
Yeah, exactly. All right, so we
Yeah.
meet Maggie, who is adorable, and we also meet her sister Lisa, who I love. I've seen her in other things.
Mhm.
Anna Douglas.
Yes,
I
she's
love her.
amazing. She's so
Yeah.
great. The biggest thing I remember her in was Cape Fear,
Ghost World.
Ghost World.
Cape
Yeah.
Fear, love
I
that movie.
love
So
Ghost
good.
World.
She's so good in Cape Fear.
Yes. And I'm going to mention this film, and this, I bet everybody would like it, but I think Jamie would be the most into this. Have you ever seen Gus Van Sant's To Die For?
No.
No, and I like Gus
No.
Van Sant. I have
Yeah.
not seen
Watch
that
it.
though.
That's probably
Okay.
it's probably the most screen time Ileana Douglas has ever had in a film too.
Okay.
She's the probably the third lead behind Matt Dillon and Nicole Kidman, and a young Joaquin Phoenix is in it too.
Oh, I love
Oh,
Joaquin.
I love Joaquin.
Okay.
Okay.
It's a dark comedy / thriller.
Okay.
Oh, sold. All right,
So
I'm watching that one.
sold, yeah.
To Die For. It's fantastic. Yeah, I think it's 1995. That sounds about right.
Okay. Yeah.
Nice.
Um,
Okay.
So we find out that Lisa is kind of psychic. She's the weird sister, right? She's a lot of fun.
She's practically licensed.
She's practically licensed. And I love Kevin Bacon. He's like, yeah, that means you don't have a license.
Yeah.
Yeah. But she basically comes out and she's like, Maggie's pregnant, like, congratulations. And everybody's like Maggie didn't even know. But yeah. So that's fun.
I love it. She's like, you impregnated my sister again.
Yeah. She's so thrilled, right? And we kind of get this moment between Tom and Maggie, and Tom is kind of down. Like, he's supporting his family and stuff, but like, he's not enjoying what he does, and he's not where he wanted to be in life. So he's kind of just a little bummed tonight, and understandable. I mean, we all, I think, have those moments where we feel like, our life didn't turn out the way we imagined it. Yeah, for sure.
But he's such I will say, good guy though. Like, he's literally no, I'm gonna do everything, for this baby, and it's just my band. It's just these other things.
It doesn't matter.
Kind of ordinary, but it's okay. I got this. And it's like, he's doing his best. He's working.
Yeah,
it's a great dialogue exchange too. Say something, bummer. Say something else.
Yeah. I love
that. Is so that conversation between them felt so real, and it hit so hard, and it's like,
and see, Jamie, what you were saying there about he's it's good because he was he's gonna do this, and it's just my band. As a woman, you two probably looked at that and went, oh, that's so sweet.
No,
as a guy, I'm like,
no,
I was like, big freaking deal. That's what you're supposed to do.
No, I did not actually.
You're supposed to support your wife and your kids and put your dreams on the back burners for them.
No, I did not look at that as, oh, that's such a sweet move or whatever of him. So generous of him. No, I did not.
Because I was like, no, you're supposed to do that, dude. So.
No,
I think I might have just had people that didn't step up, men who didn't step up. So keep that in mind too. So I'm like, well, that is pretty good. That is pretty good.
Literally.
That's the difference between a boy and a man.
Exactly.
True.
Exactly. No, I was more like, when he said bummer after finding out she was pregnant, I was like, oh, dude.
Like, what a dick.
Not the right response.
Yeah.
Like, even if you aren't excited, pretend. Like, yeah. Like, just
pretend. Isn't this great?
Yeah. Yeah, just pretend.
Which is what he came back with on the second go around.
Yeah.
Yes.
With a grimace on his face, like he couldn't even move the face all the way. Yeah. And we get the sense that Jake is hearing something through the baby monitor in his room, right? He's hearing something in the static. Tom, Maggie, and Lisa, I love that they just go to the party next door and they've got the baby monitor. Like, that's such a 90s parenting thing, like, for sure.
Yeah. So is.
Yeah. And they're just hanging out with some friends, and they're literally right next door. They see the house, but yeah.
It's right across the street.
Nope. Sorry.
Then you wouldn't leave your kid?
No.
No?
No. Hell no.
I would, no. But I'm not a parent.
I didn't have a problem with it.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Leave my 5-year-old and go.
He's
next
sleeping.
door.
He's sleeping.
Nope.
Nope. See, I'm not a parent, so I'm just like, yeah.
I'm not either. I'm like, I don't know.
Like, hell no.
Jamie's like, even said no.
I'm like, I don't know what the right answer is.
The right answer is you do not leave them. So
I'm probably wrong, but I'm like, I would probably get a babysitter just to be safe. But yeah.
Yeah.
There
you go.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it would be different if it was
But if they didn't go across the street to that party, then the rest of the movie doesn't happen.
Right. So,
well, depending on your interpretation of the ending, that might be a good thing. But anyways, so they're at the party and they get into this conversation towards the end of the party, and they're all just chatting in the room. And Lisa's going on and on about her, experience with hypnotism and all this. And Tom is just egging her on, and he's like, hypnotize me then. Like, if you're such an expert, like, let's do this and, make a believer out of me type thing. And she does. And can we talk about this moment where she's like, you're in a theater, and then the walls are black and it's an old theater, and then there's a screen in front. That whole sequence is amazing. Yes, it's so cool.
It's so cool.
There's something right before that that's just as cool, though.
What is that?
I want to bring it up real quick. When they're in the, when he's like, all right, do me, and then he just sits back for a second and everybody else is bickering, but the camera stays on him.
Yeah.
It slowly zooms in on him.
That's right.
Everybody else is going off. He's quiet there for a second. And then right when it gets to him, he goes, what's the worst that could happen? I love that shot. Love that shot.
I do too. I was just going to say, I mean, not maybe you guys don't feel the same, but I was like, ooh, there was something so hot about Kevin Bacon when he said that too. There just was, where I'm like, ooh, we're about to get into it. Like when somebody says that.
I know. It's like,
and you're right. It was right on
now.
him. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. There's something quite appealing about a man that just, what's the worst that could happen? Like,
see, the cinematography in this is great, and I'm getting ahead of myself here, but that's another thing, because they actually shot this film inside houses. They didn't do it on a soundstage or a set. They actually shot.
That's what makes this movie so great.
It's different.
Yeah,
it's in Chicago.
Yes. Logan Square neighborhood, North Side.
Yeah.
Still a shithole to this day, in case anybody's wondering. All right.
I looked the house up for this movie, and it was only valued at like $650,000. I'm like, that's kind of low for Chicago.
If you saw the house, you'd understand. If you are a local Chicagoan, Logan Square's not a desirable neighborhood. It's an up and coming neighborhood. It will hopefully, fingers crossed.
And there are much worse.
Sure.
There are much worse.
Much worse.
But it's off the blue line, and anything that's near the transportation to get to the international airport, no thanks. So yeah. Okay, so she hypnotizes him. They do the theater thing, and he goes to sleep, and he can't remember anything else, right? So he comes to, and he's got like tears on his face. He looks like he's been sweating. And everybody's just surrounding him, and they're like, dude, what the fuck? Basically, like you were talking about your childhood bully. Lisa put a safety pin in his hand and he felt nothing. And Maggie at one point, she's like, I've never seen you like that before. So, and he's like, I need to leave. Like, I feel weird. I just want to go home. And
he was
like,
real thirsty.
yeah. And he was really thirsty.
Real thirsty.
He was so
real
thirsty.
It made me
I
think
wanna
of
go
that
home
Seinfeld
too.
episode. It made me think of that Seinfeld episode. These pretzels are making me thirsty.
Yeah. Oh my God.
All right. So Tom's struggling to fall asleep, and he dreams he's back in the movie theater for a brief second, and then like Maggie wakes him up and is climbing on top of him and doing stuff, and he's into it, of course, until he starts to see images of fingernails being ripped off and teeth like coming out. Two of the worst things ever. The teeth, the fingernails, and the eyeballs. That's like the three.
Ooh, teeth get to me.
Teeth get to me too, and so do the fingernails, because you feel that. Yeah. And he's like, no, I can't do this. I can't do this. And I love that he's like, I feel like I'm being attacked. And I'm like, dude, not the right thing to say right now.
You know.
Yeah, but
I know. What do you even say?
Yeah. And he goes into the bathroom, and he like is swishing his mouth with water, and he spits it out, and he notices that there's blood in the water, and he looks, and his tooth like comes out, and then it falls into the sink, and then he looks back up at the mirror, and he's fine.
Yeah.
And it was all on his head.
That scene when he's like pulling on his tooth. Oh man.
It didn't get to me because I could tell it was a fake tooth. But
I still cringed.
Yeah.
2 things about that. One, I recently read that your teeth falling out is the most common bad dream that people have.
It is, yeah.
I've heard that's common, yeah.
Yep.
Number 2, there are way worse things to be attacked by than Catherine Irby in 1999.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, way worse. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, dude,
there is
any woman that wakes a man up like that, like, just shut the fuck up.
Right.
But there was a moment I was watching this with Greg, and I was watching it with Greg, and he was like, he said no, damn it, you stop it. I was like, that's fair. Jamie, what were you saying?
Well, there's one point where, you know, he's like kind of seeing these things and she's like, are you okay? Like, are you okay? And he was like, don't stop. Like, and I'm like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's still ready for more.
Yeah. He's like, it's fine.
Right?
So he goes downstairs because he's feeling thirsty again to get some juice. And he sits on the couch and he's like, I'm just going to watch some TV to chill, get my mind off things. And he sees this young girl sitting next to him and he's like, what the fuck? Like,
Yeah.
Understandable. Yeah. And then he sees Jake. He's at the top of the stairs. And I love 2 lines that he says here. You're awake now, Daddy. And it's like, you're not talking about you're awake, like you're not sleeping. You're awake to things. And he says, don't be afraid of it. Love that.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah.
And then Tom is talking to Maggie the next day and he told her like what happened and, you know, doesn't apologize, but he explains what happened. And, you know, he's like, he decides he needs to talk to Lisa. And she was like, oh, I just figured, you know, you need to be more open-minded. So I just said, let your mind be open to things. And I'm like, bitch, that's not what we needed.
That. Yeah.
Yeah. So totally not the right thing to say in the moment here. And we see Jake, he's talking to himself at the breakfast table and Maggie's trying to find a babysitter. She's struggling to find anybody at the last second. And Jake's like, you know, call Debbie. She's free.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. When Debbie,
parenting number 2. Sorry.
what? How is that bad? Call Debbie. What's the problem?
They didn't know Debbie.
But everybody else did in the neighborhood.
No, he said call so and so and ask about Debbie.
Ask about Debbie. Yeah. Because their friends had
So
had her babysit
calling
before.
somebody they knew.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there was.
Oh, maybe I'm
so
just...
he was.
They have somebody to vet
He
her.
was already throwing. He was already adding a reference.
Yeah. So, like, they say that she's babysat for everybody else in the neighborhood, so it's fine. And if you, I mean, it's a nice neighborhood. What's the problem?
It's Debbie.
It's Debbie.
Sean Wayne Gacy came from a nice neighborhood in Norwich, Illinois.
He
But
sure
guess
did.
what? Nope.
Well, I'm getting to the part where it's not such a nice neighborhood, Ethan.
All right, go ahead.
It's fucking Logan Square. Of course it's not a nice neighborhood. So Debbie comes to the house and Tom immediately like sees red. Like not like angry, but like he just sees red, like something bad is gonna happen, right?
Yeah.
And you know, at first he just ignores it or whatever, and he's kind of questioning Maggie. He's like, why did you hire this chick? What's the deal? And he's like, oh, you know, it's everybody has her babysit. It's fine. And we started to see, like, as he's walking down the street with his friends and Maggie, that he's really like very sensitive to red lights, buzzing, like tail lights, traffic lights, that kind of thing. And just electronics in general, they're buzzing abnormally loud to him. And meanwhile, Debbie is hearing a lot of breathing on the baby monitor, and she's like, this is kind of weird. And then Jake wakes up and he's like, you know, you scared me. And she's downstairs, I think. And he starts giggling like he's talking to somebody. So of course, Debbie goes upstairs because she's a good babysitter. Ish.
Right.
And then, you know, she's kind of asking him what's going on. And he's like, oh, you know, I'm just talking with Samantha.
Yeah.
He's like, she's like, who's Samantha? Samantha who? And she grabs Jake right away and she takes him downstairs. And then we cut to Kevin Bacon. Tom, he's running home and he searches the whole house and Jake is gone. And so is Debbie. They're both gone. And it's like, where, in most normal circumstances, you're like, where the fuck did she take him? Right? Like, where's my kid? Yeah. And he just starts taking off. He's running down the street and Maggie's like, where are you going? And he's like, I don't know. But he just knows that that's the way to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. And can I just say too, there is like a cinematography moment that I loved here. It's when he's running to the house. It's a long shot. Like there's not any cuts in it for a bit. It shows him running. The camera moves. He goes up the stairs. You see a light turn on. You see another light turn on. The camera moves with it. It was so awesome. I loved that whole sequence. It was really, really cool.
I agree. Yeah. I like how you see that a lot in this movie where they go into the house, but the camera doesn't follow them. It stays outside and lights turn on and off. Like I really like that. I think that's really smart.
Me too.
So Tom eventually runs to the metro station, Logan Square, and he sees Debbie with Jake, and she's like, tell me where she is. And they're like, what the fuck are you talking about? And it turns out that Samantha is Debbie's older sister. And she went to the train station because her mom was there. And she wanted Jake to tell their mom about Samantha and seeing Samantha. And they explained that Samantha ran away and she was kidnapped. They believe she was kidnapped, and they want to know what's going on. And they show a picture of Samantha to the parents, and they're like, have you seen her? And Tom has, but he lies and is like, nope, absolutely not. Never seen her, don't know her.
Nope.
And when they walk away with Jake, they are because Maggie's upset because she's like, why didn't we press charges? And he's like, I've seen Samantha before on the couch, and she was dead.
Yeah.
See, Samantha's mother would have had to press charges against me because I'd have killed the babysitter.
Yeah. I would have
killed her dead right there in front of the cops. I'd have been like, yep, I did it. See, she took my kid.
Yeah. I'm sorry. That could have been a phone call.
Serious situation.
No way. Nope.
Very serious.
Yeah. And so Jake reveals, because they're like, well, why did you hire Debbie? What was going on? And Jake, it's revealed that Jake was the one that told them about Debbie. And while they're confronting Jake about all this, he talks in a voice that's not his own. And, it basically says, don't ask the boy any more questions. Talk to me.
Yes.
And then Kevin Bacon does a whole rant. He's like, do it again. Do it again. Do it again. And it's like, dude, you're freaking us out here. What's going on? Like, and
He's
Maggie
like snapping.
He's like snapping. He's like, do it again. Do it again. I'm like, dude, chill the fuck out. You're freaking the kid out. And Jake is even like, I don't want to talk about this anymore because it upsets mommy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair. Yeah. Smart kid.
Good point, kid.
Yeah.
And Tom, we see like a little montage of him trying to get Samantha to come back, and he's sitting on the couch and he's like messing with the TV and like turning fast and doing it again, and it's really funny. And the
camera turns with him, which is really fun.
It does. Like, you have a little bit of comedic relief going on despite, a potential kidnapping here. And they go to a block party. This is so Chicago, Ethan.
Yep.
Like, it's so fun. They're at a block party, and you got the old style sign above the tavern, and like it's next to the L, and everybody's having a blast. All the kids are out playing and stuff. And Tom is asking his friends, he's like, hey, do you guys know about Samantha, Debbie's sister, or whatever? And he's just trying to find out who she was, why she's in their house, right? Yeah. And we also see him, he's popping lots of like pain pills, like over-the-counter pain pills and stuff. And just, he's got a lot of headaches is what we find out. And we hear from Maggie because she's talking to her sister Lisa, and she's like, I'm worried. Tom's been missing a lot of work, and if he misses any more, he could lose his job. And he's not leaving the couch. Like, he's just trying to find a way to find Samantha again, to get her to show up, right? And we find out from Tom's friends that Samantha's been missing since last March. And she never lived in the house, right? Yeah. And they think that she just ran away. So we're at Tom's house, and there's a note saying Maggie took Jake to the park, so it's just him in the house supposedly, and he's just going about his normal routine. And then all of a sudden, his friend Frank is in his house, and he's like, "They're gonna kill you, Tom.
You and Maggie
He's
both.
like, you and Maggie both."
Yeah.
And it's like, what? Like, I'm sorry,
Yeah,
what?
you okay there, buddy?
Yeah. And Tom is like concerned. He's like, "Are you okay?" And he's very incoherent, like he's just staring off into space type thing, right? And so Tom goes to Frank's house, and he's like, "I'm going to see if your wife's there and, make sure everything's okay." And he goes into the house, and he sees that Frank's son Adam is holding a gun. And he initially points it at Tom, and then he ends up shooting himself, and like you see him rubbing blood all over his face and stuff, and it's just very, very creepy and unsettling. Yeah. It turns
I
out
like that scene.
Oh, it was really cool, very creepy. And Tom wakes up, it was just a dream, but then like things start happening that are very similar to the dream, and he gets really freaked out. And like
under the bed.
he's like, "Please don't be there, please don't be there." And he goes to find Frank, because Frank is not in the house where he was in the dream. So he goes to check on him. And right as he is getting close to Frank's house, he hears a gunshot, and he's like, "Shit." And it turns out Adam did shoot himself. And so he breaks into the house and calls 911. And thankfully, Adam is still alive. And, they get him to the hospital.
And Kevin Bacon doesn't even know if he's like awake. Like he's like, "Am I having a vision like right now?" Like this crazy moment for him.
Yeah.
It's very freaky, like to see your best friend's kid hurt himself like that. It's very strange. And it like they set up that this kid is like really popular, and he's doing well in school, and he's going to have like a scholarship for college. Like, his future's really looking good. So they're kind of unsure why he's done this, right? And so Maggie and Jake go for a walk, and Jake runs into the cemetery, which I love. And this is what I mean by like the comedic timing, like this kid is so funny and like so innocent. And to me, that makes him better than the kid from The Sixth Sense. I'm sorry. Because he's not boring. And we see these Chicago police officers lined up, and you kind of get the hint that one of them might be a ghost. Like I kind of thought he was initially.
Okay.
But one of the cops starts following Maggie and Jake. Yeah, like I initially thought, I was like, "Oh, maybe he's a ghost. Like maybe it's his funeral that they're for." But that would have been cool. But yeah.
Yeah, that's not a bad theory. I didn't think of that, but I could see that. Yeah. But I like that moment where he just kind of like waves to him. He notices him, like, and nobody else does.
It's really cute. Yeah. So this cop starts following Maggie and Jake through the cemetery, and he tells Maggie, he's like, "Your son's got the eyes, and I bet his dad does too."
Not you though.
Not you though. Yeah, which I thought was funny. And he's like, "Tell his dad to come see me later tonight." She's like, "Okay, sure." Like very confused. And I love when the kid's like, "Bye, Neil." His name's Neil. Like, that's so cute. My God.
All right, see you later, Jake.
Yeah. Bye, Jake.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like he knows their name. Yeah.
It's good writing.
It's really good. Yeah. And we see Tom, he's playing guitar, and I love how Jake is like correcting Kevin Bacon's fingers on the guitar, and he's like, "Try that, Daddy, that'll work better." And right away, Kevin Bacon's like, "I know that song. How do I know that tune? Like, what the hell?" And Maggie's leaving, and she can't get a response whatsoever from either of them. They're just too engrossed in what they're doing. So I love how she takes the pocket knife and puts it in her purse.
Yeah.
And heads out the door. It's like, that's smart, but we'll ignore the kitchen and the knives in there, right? But whatever. She goes to meet Neil because she figures that, Tom would never go. So Neil tells Maggie, Tom is a receiver now. he needs to find out what the ghost wants, and the ghost will go away. But until then, the ghost is going to get very angry and things are going to get much worse. Right?
Just what I wanted to hear.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. So Maggie is taking a bath and you see Samantha appear in the mirror behind her, but Maggie can't see her, obviously. And she then appears on the TV to Jake and she's like changing the channel. And you see Samantha, she goes back to Maggie and she like puts her hand like over the water, I think. And then the water like turns ice cold. And I love how when the water is being poured into the tub, right? She's like, oh, it's hot. And now it's ice cold, bitch. So it's a water heater? What? So yeah, she goes to check on the water heater because Tom's not going to do it. Tom's too busy looking through his music collection to find the song.
Yes.
He's obsessed with the song. Yeah. And of course on the TV it's playing Night of the Living Dead.
Yep.
Of course.
Yeah.
The public domain back then, so
Yes.
time and stuff.
If I had $1 for every time that movie played in a horror film, like
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so Maggie's in the basement, the light goes out in the basement, and she starts to get a headache, right? And Jake is trying to change a channel. It won't change. He tries to unplug the TV. It's still going. And all of a sudden, Tom sees the house and it's like wrapped in plastic, like it's being renovated. And he sees Samantha and she starts to come near him and they're almost touching. And then Maggie kind of brings him back. Like she sees him just staring off into space and she like literally brings him back out of it.
Yeah.
And yeah. And Tom is just like freaking out. He's like, I'm going to talk to your sister. Like, yeah.
I don't blame him.
I don't either. It's like, this all started with her. She needs to fix this. Miss Expert with a license.
Practically.
Yeah. Practically a license. Yeah. And he's like, shut whatever door you opened. Like, fix it. And so she starts with the movie theater thing. And he's right away like, something's wrong. You know, Samantha is in that theater with him. He can't breathe. And we see she's wrapped in plastic. And on the movie theater screen, you see the word dig. So it's like, that's what she wants. She wants you to find her body, basically, right?
Yeah.
So the next day, Maggie comes back from getting groceries. And it looks like Tom's already gotten groceries taken care of.
Orange juice.
Yeah, orange juice.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing but orange juice. So he's not going to be thirsty anymore. And she sees a trail of dirty footprints leading out to the backyard. And I love that Jake is helping dig. And he's got his little dumpster truck. And Kevin Bacon is just digging. And of course, we had to have a gratuitous shirtless scene, but I'm here for it. He still looked good. And
we had to have it.
We had to have it. And he's just digging and Maggie's trying to get his attention. He's like, I need to dig. And he's like, just keeps repeating, I need to dig. I need to dig. And he's like, this is the most important thing I've ever needed. Like, this is the most important thing that's ever happened to me. I need to do this. And it basically goes back to their conversation at the beginning where he's like, I don't want to be just ordinary.
Mm-hmm.
And she argues back and she makes a valid point, you know. They both have valid points, but, you know, she tells him off and she goes back inside and he goes to apologize. And I love how he pours a glass of juice for both of them and she ignores the glass.
The way it looks, yeah.
Yeah. And he's like, are you going to drink that? And then she just gives him a dirty look and he downs the glass. Yeah. And, you know, Maggie mentions that her brother faxed her about their grandma and that she's on her way to the hospital. And then Kevin Bacon's like, no, she's not. And then he stops. And then she's like, what are you talking about? Like, what's going on? And then the phone starts to ring and it's like, and he just like walks back outside. I don't blame him. I would not have I would never in my life ever want to give that news to anybody.
Yeah.
So she answers the phone and her grandma's passed away. So she like gets a hug from Tom and everything. And I love how he's like, you go ahead and take Jake. And she's like, you're my husband. I need you with me. And he's like, I got stuff to do here. I got to dig.
Kind of in the middle of something.
Kind of in the middle of all of this.
I haven't even begun to dig yet, okay?
I haven't even begun to defile this backyard, okay? So she's upset and she's frustrated, but she's like, whatever. So she leaves with Jake. And Tom starts to dig in the basement and he gets a jackhammer. I thought it was so funny. He's like maniacally laughing. And the best part about this is the landlord outside yelling, "It's a rented house!"
Yeah.
I know.
What are you doing? That is so Chicago. Like, that is the Chicago line out of this entire
Can I say, none of you have probably ever done this, but in the Logan Park area in Chicago, I've dug holes there to like install sewers and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, damn, I wonder if he needs a job, because he had that whole place dug, and it was, I mean, the way it was supposed to be dug, I was like,
Oh,
he busts his
wow.
ass, I wonder if he needs a job.
Yeah.
The most-
Because digging in Chicago is a pain.
Well, let me tell you
wow.
this. Let me tell you this. The most unrealistic part about this, he didn't have any permits.
Right? He didn't call Julie. I mean,
No permits.
right?
So
I mean, exactly. How would you get a permit? Hi, City of Chicago. I need to find a dead girl. Can I get some permits, please?
Yeah.
you could do what he does later, and it's like, I need to get to the water main. That's what he could have said. I need to get to the water main.
Okay, now we're back, and then he's jackhammering the house. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt that.
No, you're fine.
So,
Hi, everybody. Just wanted to thank all of you guys for listening and supporting the podcast. If you haven't already, please follow us, like us, leave us a review. Little things like this can really help the podcast out so much. Also, if you want to hear your name mentioned in our episodes at the beginning and receive fun little goodies from the entire Bloody Essentials team, you can join our Patreon. It's 100% like no commitment. All the proceeds go back into the podcast. It helps us upgrade our recording equipment, our editing software, all those good things. And it also helps pay for our travel expenses with our upcoming appearances. So that can add up really fast, but we're looking to hopefully expand to other conventions and, going to other states to see spooky attractions. So funds like that will help significantly. Also, I don't know if you guys know, but before we can actually start receiving funds through YouTube and things like that, as horror creators, we need at least 500 followers on YouTube. So if you aren't already following us, but you listen to us and you really like our content, please like us, subscribe. It really helps out so much, and it allows us to keep doing what we're doing. So we love bringing horror to you each week, whether it's content creators, our thoughts on a film. So we really want to keep doing this for as long as possible. And money is unfortunately a big way to stay on top of that. So like I said, all of your support really means a lot, and you get fun little goodies from all of us. We got Bloody Essentials merch. We got horror goodies that we've been saving for you guys, whether it's stickers, horror collectibles, I'm talking shirts from your favorite horror companies, Fright Rags, all those good places. And then, of course, we've got some NECA figures and all those kinds of things. So if you want to receive fun horror goodies from your Bloody Essentials crew, join our Patreon. It's going to be a really good time. We also have a Discord channel and unedited episodes before they air. So that's always exciting. And we're hoping to be doing movie parties really soon. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, just thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll get back to the show now. We're actually back to Jake and Maggie. Jake is drawing and he looks very frustrated.
Right.
And Maggie is, she tells Tom, she's like, I'm going to come pick you up. You're going to come back here with me. And she's like, no more digging, right? And he's like, yeah, no more digging. It's fine.
Lies.
This is such a sweet and cute moment, though. Like, it's so funny because I was like, oh, the house looks really nice and it looks really put together and clean despite everything. And then he gets off the phone and he goes into the dining room or whatever, and the floorboards are destroyed. Like, these had to have been original hardwoods, and he just ripped them up like so bad. And then he goes back into the basement and he starts busting down a wall with a sledgehammer. And lo and behold, we found Samantha. First off, I'm just going to say, why the fuck did this bitch tell him to dig when she was in the damn wall?
Yes.
Punch the wall. Tell him where you are.
And a couple other things. That is the biggest crawl space, because it's not a basement. That is the biggest crawl space I've ever seen in Chicago.
Yeah. There's
I'm
no
like,
way.
Really?
Oh my God. Yeah. Most
That
of the
crawl space is bigger
like,
than the house.
like 2 foot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not
God, I
normal.
employ skinny people to put in there because my fat ass ain't getting in there. But yeah, I'm like, I would die for this. It looked like a basement.
It did. It did. I was like, that's not a crawl space. Yeah. Like Greg's parents' house. It's like you literally have to bend because it's only 3 feet. Like, yeah, no way. And so Jake asks if he can stay back because he doesn't want to go home because of the feathers. And Maggie's like, what are you talking about? And he's like, I don't know. I just saw feathers. Okay.
You know what?
It's like, we'll stow that away.
Talking to dead people, sure, stay here.
Stow that away for later. Yeah.
Right.
Remember, though, too, he makes sure that she has her purse when she leaves.
I was just about to say, she's like, Mommy, you'll need this.
Yep.
God, I love this kid. Like, just
he is good.
The little things. There's little things, and it's like, so Tom touches Samantha's hand, and he sees everything that happened to her. So we find out that Adam, the kid that tried to kill himself, he lured Samantha into the house while it was still being renovated by the other kid's dad, right?
Yep.
I don't remember the other kid's name, so I just put the other kid.
Yeah,
Sorry.
no, I don't either.
Landlord's kid.
Yeah, landlord's kid.
Yep.
And they're starting to like they're trying to assault her. You know, she's slightly she's probably on the spectrum. She's probably a little autistic and not as aware of things just yet. She's not as educated about the ways of the world. And these guys are really taking advantage of her and being assholes. Yeah. As boys do. And one of them starts to play music to cover up her screaming, which is the song that Kevin Bacon heard earlier. And then they're like, shut her up. They're trying to cover her mouth. And then they cover her with plastic. And that's how she dies. She suffocates.
And that tunnel vision moment kind of where like that is really cool when the camera kind of goes back and you can see them like talking like back and forth. That's such a cool scene how they did that.
Yeah, and since we're from her vantage point too and the plastics over here, the voices are a little muted like that.
Yes.
Yeah, which is very clever. Just this tiny little detail, but it makes a difference.
What are you fucking stupid? Why would you do that?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then Tom goes to see Frank, and Frank's like his closest friend, next door neighbor, all this, and he's like, I think I know why your son tried to kill himself, and I got to tell the police. And Frank's like, let's go. Like, let's see what's going on. So he goes over to Tom's house, and Frank's like, this is nothing. Like, you can't prove that my kid did this. You can't prove that either kid did this. And Tom's like, she's got his hair in her hand. Like, they're going to figure it out, dude. Like, people need to know. Yeah. Like, this is the right thing to do. And we find out that Frank knew the whole time and basically like helped cover it up. And, they didn't want their futures getting ruined. They had their whole lives ahead of them. What sense is it going to jail over this girl? And Frank starts to shoot at Tom and he's like, get upstairs or whatever, get upstairs. And off camera, we hear Frank make another shot once Tom is upstairs. and we assume that he might have killed himself.
Yeah.
And then Harry, the other dad, shows up outside with his son next to him. He's like, let me come inside. I heard a lot of banging. I'm concerned about my property. And Tom's like, no, that's okay. Like, everything's fine. I'm taking care of it. Like, you don't need to worry. Like, he knows what he's trying to do. He's trying to get inside.
Right.
And Tom's like, no, everything's fine. Don't worry. I'm actually about to head out. And Harry's not taking no for an answer. He pushes his way inside. So he takes a look around, and, Tom's like, oh, I was trying to get to the water main. And Harry's like, the water main isn't under the house.
I know that.
So, yeah.
Busted.
Yeah. Big time.
And this is just the plumber in me. The water main would have been under the house because it would have been where the hot water heater was. So
makes
There you
sense.
go. Yeah.
There you go.
oh, I'm like, you're wrong, sir. But go ahead.
Yeah. And the guys start fighting. Tom gets knocked down, and you hear Harry telling his son, get the carpet, wrap it around him, that kind of thing. So they're gonna kill him. Like, this is serious.
Right.
And Maggie shows up right at that moment. She honks the horn, and no answer, like he's not coming, obviously. And then she gets frustrated because she's waiting. She wants him to go. And so she gets out of the car, and she hears glass breaking, and then one of the lights goes off, and she's like, what the fuck? And then she goes back to her purse, grabs the knife, because her son said she'd need it.
Yeah. And she did.
She sure did. So she goes inside, and things are not right off the bat. And, the guys, they try to attack her. She stabs one of them in the foot. And then Frank comes out and kills them both.
Yep.
Kills both guys. Yeah. And Frank is having a conversation with Tom on the front porch, and he's like, this is a good neighborhood. Basically trying to be like, there's no reason.
Basically the same conversation he had in the vision.
In the vision from the beginning. Exactly.
Remember, in the scuffle where she stabs the guy in the foot and he shoots the gun up, it goes up through Jake's pillow and the feather.
Yep.
It goes right through Jake's pillow, and the feathers are everywhere. Yes. Thank you. Yeah. So, and then Tom turns his head a little bit and looks towards Frank's house, and then he sees Ghost Samantha happy, putting on her coat, smiling, everything's fine. She's at peace. And ultimately, that's in his mind what matters.
Yeah, and you see her walk away, which is like her symbolically telling you, I'm walking out of your brain now.
Yeah. We're done. Yeah, thank you, but I'm good now, type thing.
Yeah.
So at this point, he's like, two of the people responsible are dead. One's in critical condition, and then this guy is living with the guilt. So it's like.
And I loved how when the ghost walked away, she was walking down the street and the car just came and she went through it. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Very clever, very subtle. And Maggie, Tom, and Jake, they're moving out of that house. I don't blame them.
Yeah.
It's unsalvageable at this point.
No.
That, and they just, in self-defense, but just killed the owner of the house anyway. So.
Exactly. So it's like, just go. And
start fresh.
Yeah. Not in Logan Square. Go to Skokie. And so as they're driving away, the camera's focusing on Jake. And as Jake's family is driving through Chicago, all these ghosts from other houses are like, Jake, help us. And he starts to put his hands over his ears, and then it goes to credits.
Yeah.
So it's over, but it's not over.
Yeah. And the cop, the guy who was who knew something about his power and everything, he'd even said that the son, that Jake, had it stronger than the dad did. So he's like, he's
brighter
the one.
flashlight.
Much brighter flashlight.
Yes.
Yeah. Definitely gave me Shining vibes a few times in this movie, where Kevin Bacon would freak out on the son, and then also the recognition of a fellow receiver is what he was called. Yeah. So
it shows me as they're driving away, no matter what house they end up in, Jake is still going to have this
Yeah.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
Tom is safe as long as he stays away from Ileana fucking Douglas.
Yeah, I know. It's like don't offer yourself for hypnosis ever again, sir. Because she even said too, you got more hypnotized than most people do.
Yeah, you're one of the 8%.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this: would you ever let anybody try to hypnotize you?
Nope.
Yeah.
Even before
I
this
would.
movie, no.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Yes.
I would.
I'm a no.
No.
I mean,
I would do it.
Yeah.
Why?
Curiosity.
That's what hers was too, or his.
Yeah, I know,
Hey.
but this is me, guys. Curiosity might do me in, but I would be like, yeah, hypnotize me, sure. Just
No.
don't do anything weird. Don't make me do anything weird, but like hypnotize me, sure.
And
Let's
that's-
do it.
and
That's what
why
he said too.
And that's why I wouldn't do it, because I'm like, I don't trust anybody. They'd be
I
like,
don't want
every time
anybody in
somebody
my
says,
brain.
your fat ass acts like a chicken, I'm like, no.
but hey, what's the worst that could happen?
Yeah,
There you
hey.
I
No.
don't want to
Yeah.
find out that my neighbors
Hypnotize
are
me.
killers. No.
I'm gonna stab you with this safety pin and ask you to bleed on one side and not the other. You know.
Oh my
Yeah.
god, that was so
and then,
funny.
which I can't believe you did.
Yeah, it's like he had a total choice over
Right?
that. Yeah. All right, let's get into some fun facts.
Okay. Now, if anybody has any other ones, feel free to throw them out there. I just found a few that I thought were cool. Okay. So the safety pin going into the hand, that was an actual safety pin going into a hand. It was a stunt person. So
Not Kevin Bacon's hand. Damn.
No, it wasn't. It was a stunt person, but somebody did get safety pinned in this
That's
movie.
cool.
Okay.
Yeah. The book that Debbie is reading on the couch is by Richard is Matherson or Matterson?
Matterson.
Matheson.
Matheson.
Matheson. Thank you. I was like, I know I'm a little off there, but
Yeah.
he's the one who wrote Stir of Echoes of the story that this movie is based off of. So that
And
was
I
want
want to read the book now.
A Stir of Echoes, 1958.
Gotcha.
Ooh,
Yeah, I
okay.
want to read the book too because I feel like the book would be really interesting. Like
Yeah.
I would like to see this in my imagination. So has anybody read it?
No,
Have you
but
read it,
I'm going
Ryan?
to now.
My name is the library, and yes, I have read this book.
How is it?
It's fantastic, and I'm a big fan of Richard Matheson because he is the third most prolific writer from the Twilight Zone series.
Oh,
I've heard the
Oh,
name
okay.
before, and I'm like, where have I heard his name? I haven't read any of his books, but I definitely know his name. I've heard it before.
Only two people wrote more Twilight Zone episodes than him: Charles Beaumont, who wrote 22, and of course Rod Serling himself, who wrote 92.
Right.
He wrote I Am Legend too.
Yeah, Richard Matheson
Oh.
has just such an extensive
And Hell House. Okay.
bibliography. That's the word I'm looking for. Of course. I think he wrote 17 Twilight Zone episodes. It could be 18. I'm not 100% sure
Wow.
on that. I'm just going off the top of my head here.
Okay.
But he wrote none of them would be in my top 5, but he has several that would be in my top 20. And one in particular he wrote was called Little Girl Lost. And it's bullshit that they don't give him credit for it. That's totally where they got the idea for Poltergeist. They totally stole the girl in the wall and they totally ripped him off.
Did he write the episode where the man is the last one in the world and he's stuck with all these books and then he breaks his glasses?
No,
Love
Time
that
Enough
one.
at Last. No, that's Rod Serling.
I love that episode. That was my favorite.
That's a Rod Serling script.
Of course.
Yeah, of course.
That one and the Nazi one are my two favorites, like of all time.
You're probably talking about Death's Head Revisited, that there are multiple Nazi ones, but that's the most.
The one where he goes back to the death camp.
Oh, to Dachau. Yeah.
Yeah.
Death's Head
That's a good
Revisited,
one.
season 3. That's also a Rod Serling script.
Okay. Yeah. I just love Rod Serling.
He's awesome.
I was a soldier. Becker, no, Captain, you were a sadist. You were a monster who derived pleasure from giving pain. What a great line. In that.
So good.
Seriously. Oh
My
gosh.
band from back in 2002 actually used a clip of that as a sample in one of our songs. So.
I love that. Can we hear that anywhere?
You can probably find it on YouTube.
Okay, I want to hear it. That's awesome. Okay.
Yeah. What's the name of your band for the listeners?
It's very, very, very heavy death metal. So I was
That's
into
cool.
when I was in my early 20s. So
Okay.
What's the name of the band again?
Yeah, what's the name of the band?
Dislimb, DISLIMB.
All right.
Not
Check it
Datlim.
Dislimb.
That's actually a word.
Yeah,
Aw.
that's amazing.
I'm definitely gonna look that up. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not super proud of it, but the new theme song we have on Rick and I's show, Whole Damn Enchilada Podcast, like and subscribe.
Yeah.
That is a Slim song, and the only reason we use it is because now we don't have to share any of
Copyright.
the
Yeah.
because I
Makes
own the
sense.
copyright to it. Damn it!
There you
Nice.
go.
All right.
So whenever you watch
okay.
our show, you do hear a minute of my band from 25 years ago for a minute. So
Ah,
there you
That's
go.
so
that's
cool.
Very
awesome.
cool.
And that's my voice. Rawr.
Aw.
Okay, I gotta listen to more.
Yes.
That's awesome. Okay, so in the moment when Maggie is going to be leaving Jake at her relative's house, apparently they realized in that moment that they were working the child actor beyond the time limit that they're supposed to do, because you have a time limit with kids.
Yeah.
And so the story is that the crew had to like go house to house in the neighborhood trying to find a kid who looked similar enough to him that they could use to kind of finish the scene. And they did find a kid and they cut his hair. You know, the parents were like, sure, do it. And so that's how they finished that scene, apparently,
That's
which is
fun.
fun.
Child labor
That's
laws.
cool.
Love it.
Exactly. They were like, ooh, we gotta go find another kid for a little bit.
That's so funny.
Okay. The hypnosis sequence that we get in that first hypnosis sequence, apparently that follows a real technique, the technique that she used bringing him to the theater and the dark room and the screen with the word. Apparently that's a real, technique that hypnotherapists use.
Very cool.
Samantha's walk, because it's kind of weird, her walk is kind of weird. What they had her do is they had her walk, they told her to walk as normal as possible, to walk slowly, but to walk as normal as possible, and then they sped it up. So that's how they kind of got that effect.
Yeah, it's practical.
That's
yeah.
so cool.
They just cut a tape.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Computer,
Yeah.
they actually cut the tape. And it's
Yeah.
most everything's practical. Other obviously in a theater when the walls are painting themselves.
Sure.
It has to be CGI. But
Yeah. It was really cool though. It looks good for
Yeah,
99.
it does.
It did. The
Yeah.
effects were cool in this movie.
Yeah.
Apparently Kevin Bacon was in a good amount of pain when he was doing some of the concrete beating and digging and stuff. And they tried a few different picks or tools or whatever, and ended up going with the real pick just because it looked more authentic. The other ones that he was using didn't look as good, on camera or whatever. So they did go with the actual tool.
Nice.
Let's see. And then the babysitter, Debbie, the actress, has a real sister named Samantha, which is kind of fun too.
That probably
and
helps
those
her
are
get
my
into
those are my
character.
fun facts.
That's really interesting.
I knew most of those, not all of them, but most of them.
Yeah, I didn't. I try to.
Yeah.
If I'm not doing fun facts, I like to be out of the loop.
Me too.
One thing that's pretty cool
Me too.
is the scene when he's digging in the backyard and he's frustrated and he kicks that bucket. It wasn't.
Is that real?
Yeah, it wasn't supposed to go through the window.
I thought
Yeah.
so.
And he just stayed in character and they went with it.
Okay, I gotta
David-
correct that.
David Cobb loved it, so he kept it in.
Yeah, Greg was like, that looks like, how could he have hit that mark every time?
Wasn't
You know,
yeah.
so it's like that's really cool. Yeah,
He was just trying to
Oh,
kick it at the
Yeah,
wall.
it wasn't scripted. Yep.
yeah. He broke another window.
Just like Walter White throwing the pizza on the roof in Breaking Bad.
Oh,
That was the
Yeah.
first take.
That's so cool.
oh
It
my
wasn't
gosh.
supposed to happen.
I love those guys.
Oh my
Not a big
gosh.
fan of the show, but I like the
Get out
I
of
like the actors.
Get
It's
Yeah.
long.
it.
It's
I want to
boring.
go to the other side now.
No, this is the fun side.
Hey, this
All
side's
right.
pretty fun over here too.
That's
just
right,
saying.
damn it.
Calm down. All right, Ryan, let's get
Ethan-
into rating this movie. If you will start us off, please.
Oh yeah, actually did a top 5. You want it?
Yeah.
Okay. And maybe a bottom something or other.
Okay.
Oh.
And it's great because my number one thing was disgust but I'll save that for one. But not by name, and I'm so glad.
Mm.
My number 5 favorite thing, and I almost jumped right into it when you're done with the synopsis because it immediately happens at the end of the movie, and that's Hello, Hello. I love Poe. I don't know.
Oh, me too. I love Poe, and I love that song. I love. I actually listened to like the whole CD after I rewatched this because I'm like, oh, that song's such a banger. Yes, I listened to the whole CD after I watched it.
Are you familiar with the remix with the rock and like band music behind it? That's the better.
I am.
That version's
yeah,
even better.
It is. It is.
For this movie, though, the original version was better. That trip hop beat.
And I love that's one of my favorite kinds of music is like that 90s trip hop. Ugh, like Portishead and
I never knew. I love
I'm a huge Portishead fan. Anyway.
that song Hello though, that predates this film by several years. That album came out in 95. But the things that if you listen to the lyrics very closely, it could kind of describe trying to communicate with something you can't directly speak to, which ties into a ghost kind of scenario. Yeah. With her, though, I think that song is about trying to find someone she met online. And hello, MOD, are you out there?
Yes.
I can't see the data back road that I almost erased, and then like a disconnected modem. This is 1995, and she has all these internet references. Ahead of her time.
So fun. Yeah. Really good song.
She did another album in 2000 called Haunted that was even better than her first album.
Good.
And then she never made another album since, and I don't know why. But
it's a shame. She's great, but
love that song. Fits perfect with this film. My number 4 favorite thing is the ghost stuff itself because it wasn't overdone. Yeah. When she first appears on that couch, that just like that, you're not expecting that. I don't.
Yeah.
That was so well done, and it was so quick and gone that it was like, wait, what happened?
And you really don't see her that much in the whole movie. Like she barely has any screen time till the end. Yeah.
I like that it's not overdone like that. Like, and
I do too.
Jamie mentioned how it was practical shot of her walking all creepily. Love that they did it that way. Didn't make it look cartoonish or foolish. And like, it was hard to watch, the scene where she's killed, but it's kind of necessary for us to find out what happened.
Yeah. I like that they kind of showed it through her eyes.
Yes.
And it was tough to watch, but like it was still very restrained. I've seen much worse. It was very restrained. And I think that they did it in a very masterful way to where it wasn't too triggering. So
yeah, it was upsetting, but it wasn't too much.
Yeah.
Okay.
As somebody who's seen much worse and has had to be subjected to much worse, yeah.
But it was a hard scene to watch, though. It really was. I feel for her.
Yeah.
Like it's
not graphic in certain ways it could have been, which I'm glad it wasn't.
But your imagination does a lot of work.
Yeah. And that's all you need.
Yep.
Yeah. Exactly.
Again, the door is just cracked open for Tom, in this movie.
Exactly.
And then finally he can just peek in enough
Exactly. Yeah.
My number 3 favorite thing about this film, and we've already talked about her, is Ileana Douglas.
That's great.
And I think she's adorable too.
So, she
is adorable.
Like, cute as a button.
No one looks just like her.
No.
Look.
Yeah.
Yeah. She was one of the mistresses in Goodfellas. That's like how she got.
That's right.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah.
She's very Italian with that name Douglas. It's kind of weird, but
The nose. It's the nose.
My number 2 favorite thing is actually Kevin Bacon in this. I think it's one of his best performances.
He nailed the Chicago accent. Absolutely nailed it.
He's like almost the perfect everyman.
Yeah.
Yes.
He really is.
He's just that blue collar guy.
Yeah.
Family. He's the last person in the world you expect to have psychic things happen, but it does.
Yeah.
And he reacts very negatively in some ways, but I imagine if that really happened to a guy like him, that's how he would probably react.
110%. Yeah. Yeah.
and just the interactions. I thought he had good chemistry with Catherine Irby, and even though sometimes he's kind of really a dick to her, we know why though. Like later, because imagine all this weight in your brain going on, and
It'd be crazy.
Yeah.
And my number one favorite thing about this film, and his character was mentioned, but his name wasn't, and it's Kevin Dunn. This was one of the most genius pieces of casting I've ever seen for like a side character in anything. This guy is pure Chicago through and through.
Yeah.
He's from there, so it's not a put on accent. That's just the way he talks.
Yeah.
He has comic relief in the beginning. Like when they go to that party and like he's checking out the chick with the halter top, and then the camera. Oh God, that's great. That's great. You know, he's like this silly character, you know, in the beginning, but then he gets real serious. So he has range in this thing.
Yeah,
he does.
Big time.
Another thing too, and you mentioned Tom seeing like red lights flashing and this and that and this and that. If you notice, he's the only character throughout the film that wears red shirts.
Ooh.
I did not notice that. Okay.
I love that detail. I did not pick up on that, but that is awesome.
I never noticed that back in the day, but rewatching it recently, I'm just
That's true. He only ever wears red shirts, doesn't he? Yeah.
Wow.
He's like key to this.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just think that and to some people it just might be he's just like the 5th or 6th or 7th person like down the list. No, that is absolute brilliant casting.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it was very intentional with him being from Chicago. Yeah,
he just seems like that guy in is it Ileana Douglas that says the line, "Oh, you just kicked around the same 6 blocks your whole life," you know?
Yeah.
Every big city has that neighborhood guy. This is a decent neighborhood, like.
Yeah. This is a nice place to raise a family, and it's like just because you never left doesn't mean exactly.
Yeah, and he's so obsessed with his neighborhood in Chicago and that area because he doesn't know any better.
He's very proud of his neighborhood.
Yes. Yeah. And you have that kind of guy in like every neighborhood.
Every neighborhood. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay. Now my negative, and it's really just one thing.
Okay.
And it doesn't ruin anything. It's just I have read the novel.
Okay. Sure.
The side stuff with Neil is important, but they glossed over it way too fast.
I figured because I'm like, okay,
I wanted
really
to know
didn't
more.
help. Yeah, I was like, he really didn't help other than cool, like he's got it stronger than his dad. But
that character has a bigger role in the book.
Okay,
makes sense.
It's more without kind of plot bombing you, like he does.
Yeah,
Irby when she shows up at the thing.
Kind of bummed that got left out because I feel like that was they did really good casting and he was barely in it, and I'm like,
I was intrigued by that. Yeah, I wanted to know more.
Thing's only an hour 39. If they would have even put,
they had time.
2 more scenes,
Yeah. Did they get into like what is going on in the room and stuff? Because they're like,
I know, because
we're not freaks. I'm like, what?
I'm like, what is happening in that room? Yeah, why are they all gathered there? And then they're like, your husband was supposed to come. We wanted him. And I'm like, wait, why do they want him?
It's basically, and this might be a poor analogy. It'd be like somebody drunk showing up to an AA meeting.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah. It's kind of like a support group for other people that.
Right.
Okay.
Gotcha.
That makes sense. Yeah, that would have been really helpful for Kevin Bacon, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Jesus. Poor guy is barely hanging on. All right. Jamie, do you want to give us your rating? Oh, Ryan, you didn't say 5, like how many out of 10?
Oh, I do letter grades.
Oh, letter grades, right.
And this fall, it's horror adjacent, but for me, every subgenre, I'm going to put this under thrillers.
Yeah, sure.
This is an A-.
Fair.
It's a good movie.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, Jamie.
So I really enjoy this movie. Like I said, I just rewatched it not that long ago. I just like the vibe of it, the feel of it. Kevin Bacon is really, really good in it. All the other actors are really great in it too. And I just I think the storytelling is really great as well. I would have to watch Sixth Sense again. It's been a while, but I would say I probably do enjoy this a little bit more than Sixth Sense. I just like the vibe of it. I like the story. All that being said, I think I'll probably give this one it's like a 7.5. Like, it's a great movie. Love it. Definitely rewatch it again. I actually convinced my parents to watch it because they're like, oh, it's Kevin Bacon. I think I saw that movie. And I'm like, well, you need to watch it again because it's really good. But yeah, definitely love this one.
Nice. Okay. I also really enjoy this movie. The vibe, it's very Chicago. Like, I was talking to Ryan before we started, and I was like, this and Candyman are like the two top essential Chicago films for me. Like, they get the vibe right. They understand the people of Chicago, And Kevin Bacon is amazing in this movie. Like, I think it's like, I love it when we get to see him have a little bit of humor in some of his roles. And I don't think that we get that as often now. But like, I love early Kevin Bacon, and I love his little banter with his wife in this movie. And, I love the scene where they're digging in the backyard and she sees her son, and it's like he's looking for dead bodies, and he's like, don't worry, it's not over there. like it's just he's so charming, and he does a great job with everybody in this movie, and he really sells it. And while this is a very emotional movie, I feel like it's handled very well, and it's not too over the top. And I think that can be very difficult to do when you have a young woman that is assaulted and killed by other teenage boys her own age. And like, Chicago is very well known for covering up murders. So yeah. 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 I just love this movie so much. And I think that it definitely is underrated in terms of thrillers, for sure. And it bums me out that more people don't talk about this movie. So, and I'm giving it an 8 because the rewatchability is very high. Like, regardless of how often you've seen it, it still is great. And like, I enjoyed seeing it again and like looking at it from a different perspective and like knowing the twists and like watching some of these side characters. I'm like, can't wait for you to get your comeuppance. So it's a fun movie. I love this movie.
Yeah. I agree with you, Nina. I think it's totally underrated. And I think, that had to do with Sixth Sense coming out and it got thrown under the bus. Totally wish that would have come out first, but oh well, you can't go back and fix anything. I also agree with you, Ryan. I think this is probably Kevin Bacon's best role, or at least the best that I've seen him in.
Top 5.
Yeah.
It's up there.
It was excellent. I think it was cast great. I mean, the fact that it's in, my hometown of Chicago. And everybody was totally spot on Chicago. Yeah. The accents, the way they did everything, it was really good. It wasn't over the top gory, which, I love me some gore, but the way this was told, it didn't need to be gory. So I would say this, for me, is an 8.5. Definitely would recommend it. And definitely rewatchable. So
yeah. Great movie.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. That's Stir of Echoes.
I'm glad everybody is a fan of that one.
Oh, yeah.
I would be upset if somebody didn't like this movie. And if you are listening and you don't like it, tell us why.
Yeah.
And then we'll tell you why you're wrong. But go ahead, tell us why.
it just feels like such a forgotten gem.
Yes.
It definitely is.
Yeah. Nobody talks about this movie.
No, because of happenstance, And yeah, The Sixth Sense came out 5 weeks before this, but this novel, the source material, was written 41 years before that one.
Yeah.
So
and this is far better.
This story has been out there. They did make a sequel to this thing.
Yes, they did. I was going to ask you if you'd seen that.
I never will.
Okay.
I have not seen it either.
I haven't seen it, but I am curious if it picks up with Jake, because I know that Kevin Bacon isn't in it.
None of the same people.
None of the same characters.
Nobody.
So we don't know what happens with Jake.
No.
That's the only reason I'd watch then. What the hell? Yeah, I don't care then. All right.
Yeah, you could do it now that he's grown.
They could.
Right?
He's going to be like 40 or 50 if he's still alive.
Well, this was what, 25? He'd be like 30.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good point. He'd be my age.
But who knows? Maybe I don't think that kid ever did anything else. I think I did look that up.
That's a shame because I thought he was really good.
Well,
He's
not for
adorable too.
You're that young.
Yeah. It is hard to get out of child acting into regular acting. So,
and it's hard. A lot of parents want normal lives for their kids, and it's really hard to do that if you're in the entertainment industry.
Yeah, big
that's for
time.
sure. All right, guys, just remember, if you ever find yourself in a horror movie or you are seeing weird things and you're feeling extremely thirsty for orange juice, don't have sex.
Don't do drugs.
And certainly, don't die. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.